dreaming of launching your business in Japan? Whether you are an entrepreneur from overseas or inside Japan, the first critical step is choosing the right type of company structure. Today, we'll walk you through the main types of companies in Japan, their pros and cons, and how to choose the right one for your business goals. And if you're wondering how to navigate this process, we've got you covered with our SmartStart Japan's expert services. Stay tuned.
Now let me introduce our team. First, we have our co-founder Tae-Jin Yoon. Born and raised in Japan, TJ brings years of experience in investment advisory and international relations. Fluent in both English and Japanese, he has guided over 25 companies and successfully managed 40 subsidy and loan applications in Japan. Tae-Jin is your go-to expert for navigating the complex setup requirements here in Japan. Next, we have Tyson Batino, our co-founder who specializes in revenue growth and advisory services. And finally, here's me, Heiken, the marketing manager and the content creator here at SmartStart Japan. I'm dedicated to bringing you insights on how to successfully launch your business in Japan.
Alright, let's jump right into it. There are 4 types of business structure in Japan. They are Kabushiki Kaisha, KK, Godo Kaisha, which is GK, Gomei Kaisha, and Goshi Kaisha. While Japan offers for these 4 main types of companies, most entrepreneurs, both in Japan and overseas, choose between either Kabushiki Kaisha and Godo Kaisha. Why? Let's break it down. Kabushiki Kaisha, well, it is the most prestigious and trusted structure in Japan. Think of it as the equivalent of a corporation in the US or Europe. It is the go-to choice for business that wants high credibility to attract investors or customers, the ability to issue shares for fundraising, and a robust governance structure with clear roles for directors and shareholders. On the other hand, we also have Godo Kaisha, which is Japan's version of an LLC. This is more suitable for small to medium-sized business who don't plan on raising funds. It offers more flexibility in management. Owners can directly run the company itself. Lower setup costs and fewer regulations for GK compared to Kabushiki Kaisha, which is great for some startups who don't plan on raising funds. It also has the same limited liability protection as a KK. So why don't we focus on Gomei Kaisha or Goshi Kaisha? While these structures are still available in Japan, they are rarely chosen in modern business because of the following reasons, right? So for Gomei Kaisha, it involves unlimited liability for all the partners involved, which means if your company fails, your personal assets are on the line if your business is not successful. Goshi Kaisha is also similar in the sense that it has both general and limited partners, but general partners also faces unlimited liability. So this kind of structures are sometimes seen in Japanese traditional trust-based business or family-owned business, but they are very much not common today, especially for foreign entrepreneurs. With these reasons mentioned, we will not be diving deep into Gomei Kaisha and Goshi Kaisha in this video. We also want to quickly touch on Yugen Kaisha, which you can see on the bottom right. This was once a popular structure in Japan for small to medium-sized business, but it was officially discontinued in 2006 when Japan introduced Godo Kaisha. It can still be bought out or purchased by entrepreneurs, but you can no longer start a new Yugen Kaisha, which is why we won't focus on this structure in this video. Now that we have introduced the main types of companies in Japan, let's take a closer look at the first structure, Kabushiki Kaisha. Japan's most prestigious and widely used business structure. Known for its credibility and flexibility, the KK is often the top choice for businesses aiming to establish a strong presence in Japan. Here are 4 key features of KK to help you understand why it's such a popular option. First is the limited liability. As a shareholder of KK, your personal liability is limited to the amount you have invested in shares. This means your personal assets are protected, even if the company incurs significant debts or liabilities. This feature not only safeguards shareholders, but also makes the KK highly attractive to investors. On the downside, the limited liability comes with stricter governance requirements, which makes the structure slightly more complex to manage compared to, for example, the GK structure. A good example we can provide is you will need to hold annual shareholder meetings. It is required by law. Well, second is the capital flexibility. While Japanese law allows the KK to be established with as little as 1 yen in capital, Most businesses start with at least 1 million to ensure operational viability and credibility. This flexibility allows entrepreneurs to choose a starting capital that fits their business strategy. Third is the governance structure of KK. KK requires at least one director for your company, but forming a full board of directors is also possible. It's optional unless you have specified that in your articles of incorporation. This feature provides flexibility for small business that can maintain a simple governance structure. For example, you just started out as let's say a 10-person team, then you won't need a full board of directors, but you can expand it to a full board of directors if you need to expand your business at a later stage. Finally, one big advantage of KK is the ability to issue and trade shares publicly. This makes it an excellent choice for businesses or startups that aims to raise significant capital or attract institutional investors. Public offering capabilities are a game changer for companies with ambitions of larger scale growth. On the other hand, businesses that don't plan to go public may find these capabilities unnecessary, making a simple structure like GK more appealing to some companies or entrepreneurs. A very quick version or summary of KK is that it's an excellent choice for business who wants a very high degree of credibility and scalability in Japan, and they want to raise significant capital here in Japan as well. However, if you do not need to secure more capital, or if you are a smaller company who prefers a more simple governing or management structure, then KK would not be the best option for you. Now let's walk through the key steps involved in establishing a KK in Japan. What you're seeing here is a very condensed version of the entire setup process. Obviously, establishing a corporation in Japan especially a KK, is more complicated than this. So we definitely recommend checking out our previous video on registering your business in Japan to see the entire setup process in detail. Right now, we'll just talk about 3 points that you will have to complete as part of this company setup process in Japan for KK. First is the Articles of Incorporation. It is a foundational document that outlines all the essential details about your company. This includes the company name, purpose, headquarters location, and information about your shares and directors. Think of it as your company's blueprint. The documents must be carefully drafted and notarized to meet the Japanese legal standards. Point 2 is to deposit your capital. So the company's promoters or founders will need to subscribe to at least 1 share each and make the required capital contributions. While the legal minimum is just 1 yen, it's common practice to deposit a high amount to demonstrate financial credibility to investors and stakeholders. This step not only funds your company, but also builds trust with potential partners and clients. And one of the last steps that you will have to do is to register your business with the legal affairs bureaus in Japan. And this step is basically formally establish your KK as a legal entity in Japan. After contributions are confirmed, directors, if required, and auditors are officially appointed. At this stage, you also decide whether to operate with a sole director or a full board of directors based on your company's needs for governance. Each of these steps will basically require a lot of positions and will require a lot of Japanese knowledge. But don't let the complexity overwhelm you. Here at SmartStart Japan, we specialize in streamlining this entire process, from drafting the Articles of Incorporation to managing your registration process. Our experts ensure that you have compliance and efficiency every step of the way and help you incorporate it in just under 2 months. So if you are ready to begin your business journey in Japan, book a 30-minute free consultation with us today and let us do the heavy lifting while you focus on your business in Japan. Alright, next let's shift our focus onto Godo Kaisha, GK. It is a popular choice for small to medium-sized business in Japan. Known for its flexibility and cost effectiveness, the GK is ideal for entrepreneurs looking to establish a presence without the complexities of larger corporate structures. Let's explore its 4 standout features. First, similar to a Kabushiki Kaisha, GK also offers limited liability protections. This means that members' personal assets are safeguarded as their liability is confined to the amount of capital contribution. This feature provides the peace of mind, especially for small business owners entering the market for the first time. Second is the lower establishing cost. Establishing a GK is more straightforward and cost-effective than KK. With fewer setup and maintenance expenses, it's a practical choice for startups or business operating on a tighter budget. While this cost-saving aspect is a major advantage, some investors may perceive GK as less prestigious compared to KKs, which can be a consideration for companies seeking to attract significant outside investment. GK also offers a more flexible management structure. Members can directly manage the company themselves or appoint managers from within. This streamlined approach allows for a tailored decision-making process and hands-on control, making it an excellent option for entrepreneurs who want to stay actively involved in their business operations. Finally, unlike a KK, GK is not required to hold annual general meetings or appoint statutory auditors. This makes the corporate governance requirements much simpler, reducing the administrative burdens and giving members more time to focus on growing their business. So, if you are an entrepreneur looking for a more cost-effective and flexible corporate structure, and you don't need to attract significant outside investment, then GK would be the perfect fit for you. If you are interested in establishing a GK in Japan, reach out to us at smartstartjapan.com. Next, let's talk about the establishment process for GK. Similar to KK, the steps to establishing a GK is similar, but the process is simpler because of the articles of incorporation does not need to be notarized. Like KK, you would just prepare a simple document that outlines your company's purpose, structures, member roles, and your capital's contribution. And that would be everything. There's no need for your articles of incorporation to be notarized if you are establishing a GK. Next is to deposit your capital. Members must deposit their agreed capital contribution into the designated bank account. While there is no minimum legal requirement, starting with sufficient capital demonstrates your business financial stability and also builds credibility with your partners and any potential clients. Finally, similar to KK, you will register your company at the Legal Affairs Bureau. Once your article of incorporations are prepared, submit your articles and proof of capital contribution to the Legal Affairs Bureau. Once your application is approved, your GK will be officially established as a legal entity. And from here, you can conduct any business activities you want in Japan. It's important to note that for both GK and KK, your establishment process doesn't just end with registration, right? So tasks like notifying the tax office, opening a corporate bank account, registering for your social and labor insurance if you have any employees will still be required. These steps will make sure your business complies with any Japanese tax law and regulations here. Let's also briefly talk about the other two company types in Japan that is technically available to everyone. First is the Goshi Kaisha. A Goshi Kaisha basically combines two types of partners. A general partner who manages business and hold unlimited liability. This means they are personally responsible for the company's steps and obligation, and limited partners who acts as investor, contributing capital but staying uninvolved in daily operation. Their liability is restricted to the amount that they have invested. This structure is only ideal for businesses that leads both active management and passive investor. However, the unlimited liability for general partners can be a significant drawback for people who want to minimize the risk of setting up a company. Next, we have Gomei Kaisha. In Gomei Kaisha, all partners are equally responsible for managing the business and importantly for its liabilities. There's no capital requirement, which makes it very easy to set up, but this structure really relies heavily on your mutual trust among the partners because of its shared unlimited liability. This structure is basically best suited for family business or small businesses where there's a lot of trust in the partnership that you are having. While both of these structures are still being used in Japan, they are less commonly chosen today because of their reliance on unlimited liability. And for most business, and especially for foreign or even local entrepreneurs, the flexibility and limited liability protection of GK and KK make them more practical choices. In addition to the 4 types of company structures in Japan, there are also 2 extra type of special entities that a foreign company can consider when entering the Japanese market. Establishing a full-fledged entity might not always be the first step for a company who is maybe already matured in overseas and they want to just explore the market, right? So here you can explore 2 simpler options. representative office or a branch office. Let's discuss how these differ and when each might be the right fit for your business. First, the representative office. A representative office allows your company to operate in Japan at a low risk and low cost. This type of office is limited to non-commercial activities such as market research, advertising, and purchasing goods on behalf of the parent company. However, it is important to note that a representative office cannot open a bank account in its own name, nor can it conduct sales or any kind of profit-generating activities. This option would be ideal for businesses in an exploratory phase in Japan, focusing on building brand awareness or understanding the Japanese market before committing to full operations here. Next, let's talk about the branch office. A branch office is an extension of your parent company. While it allows you to conduct full business operations, including sales and revenue generation, it comes with some key characteristics. First, it has no independent legal status, meaning the parent company is fully liable for any debts incurred by the branch. It also pays taxes only on Japanese source income, making it a tax-efficient option for limited activities. This structure works well for businesses ready to establish a physical presence and engage in commercial activities in Japan, but without the need to set up an entirely new legal entity, like a subsidiary, which in this case would be like a GK or KK. And here at SmartStart Japan, we can help guide you through the setup process for the branch office. So reach out if you want to know more about how to set up a branch office in Japan. You can also check out our video on branch office in Japan to learn more about how you can set up this type of company structure. Now that we've discussed all the different types of company structures in Japan, it is now time to make a decision. Choosing the right company structure in Japan is a critical decision that will shape your business operation, financial commitments, and future growth. Let's break down the key factors that you should consider, which are setup costs, capital and fundraising, management and flexibility, and finally taxation and credibility. We'll go into each one by one to show you the difference between a GK and a KK so you can make the best decision. Let's first take a look at the setup costs. When choosing between a KK and a GK, setup cost is a significant factor. For KK, the government registration fees are around 150,000 yen. Additional costs such as creating a company seal, notarizing the articles of incorporations, and other administrative tasks can take anywhere from 40,000 yen to 90,000 yen. On the other hand, a GK is much more affordable, with government fees around 60,000 yen. Additional expenses like company seals and administrative setup range from 40,000 yen to 90,000 yen. So if you are looking for a more cost-effective way to get started in Japan, GK will be the better choice. If you're looking for a more long-term credibility and fundraising potential, then the added investment opportunities for KK would be worth considering. Next, let's take a look at capital and fundraising. A KK offers the ability to issue shares for fundraising, making it a strong option for businesses that plan to scale, attract investors, or eventually go public. It often starts with a recommended capital of 1 million yen or more to ensure smooth operations and credibility. On the other hand, a GK does not have a minimum capital requirement, making it more accessible for startups and small businesses. However, it lacks the ability to issue shares, which limits large-scale fundraising operations. So if you are a business that relies on personal investment or just you don't need the extra funding, then a GK would work just fine. For those startups who are seeking for Japanese funding or you need a round of fundraising, then KK will be the preferred choice. Next, let's talk about management structure. A KK requires formal governance, which requires you to include appointing at least one director for your company. Larger companies often establish a board of directors as well for transparency and accountability. This structured approach makes KK more suitable for scaling up your operations or for bigger operations with companies that has multiple stakeholders involved. In contrast, a GK offers a far more flexible company structure. It allows members to manage their company directly or just appoint managers as needed without needing the complex governance structure from KK. This makes it an ideal choice for small businesses and startups where simplicity and hands-on management are priorities. Finally, let's talk about taxation and credibility. So for taxation, both KK and GK are subject to the same corporate taxes, so the tax rate will be the same. In terms of KK, it is the gold standard in Japan. It carries the highest prestige and trust among investor, clients, and partners, especially in Japan or when you're dealing with more traditional companies, making it the preferred choice for businesses aiming for a strong reputation. The GK, while simpler and more cost-effective, may be perceived by some companies as less formal in Japan's trust-based business culture. Choosing the right structure depends on your goals. If simplicity and savings are your focus, a GK is excellent. For long-term growth and credibility, then KK remains the better and more powerful option. So that is the end of our video. No matter which type of company structure in Japan that you have chosen to go with, the language barrier and the complexities of the application can feel overwhelming. This is where we come in. At SmartStart Japan, we simplify the process of incorporating your business in Japan, offering expert guidance through every step for your incorporation journey, business manager visa application assistance should you need it, and access to subsidies and government-backed loans through our Smart Boost program once you have incorporated. We are fully equipped to help both local and overseas entrepreneurs to establish their business in Japan. So if you have an idea you think will work for the Japanese market, feel free to reach out.